Okay guys, forgive the somewhat clickbaity title. There's a reason I'm pissed. I'm pissed because this is my Sparrow 2 Pro. Yeah, the lens is broken. The lens is broken, but you can actually still see through the lens. That's not the problem. In this crash, a voltage spike killed the camera. And the reason why I'm pissed is because this is probably the first CMOS cam that makes me want to stop using CCD cameras. So, you know, I've been using the Swift for, I don't know, over 2 years. You know, it was when we were using the full-size Swift with the 1.8 lens, and we were like, that was the first time we were getting like that 170 degree field of view. And we've, you know, evolved to the micro Swift with a 2.1 lens, which gets you about the same field of view, and that's kind of what I've been flying and racing with. And you know, Runcam and Foxeer have been coming out with this CMOS cameras, and they've been really good picture quality wise, but they've always been lacking field of view. You know, there was the original Eagle, the Eagle 2, the Eagle 2 Pro, which I have all of those. I have the Sparrow, the first Sparrow. The first Sparrow looked great, had a really narrow field of view. The Eagle had a narrow field of view. The Eagle 2 Pro, which I've also reviewed, came close. On paper, it has a 170 degree field of view, but the horizontal isn't as wide as the Swift with a wide lens. So the Eagle 2 Pro, it's a great camera. It's sharp. I like using that camera on my fixed wing, just because when you're, you know, a few hundred feet off the ground looking down at the earth, it just kind of it almost makes for like a more detailed image. But this camera, the Sparrow 2 Pro, this is the first CMOS camera that has a wider horizontal than the Swift 2 with a 2.1 lens. I always do little field of view comparisons when I get new cameras, and yeah, it's amazing. And it's this new RC18G lens, and I guess if you put this on a Swift 3, then the field of view goes up to like 180 degrees or so. I don't know, I haven't tried it. But you know, you get all the benefits of a CMOS camera: the wide dynamic range, the light handling, the shadow handling. This one isn't as good as the Eagle 2 Pro at low light, but flying this camera in shadows it's just fun. You know, I've been FPVing for coming up on 4 years, and very seldom do I get something in my hands that's just like fun. You know, there's a lot of things that are exciting and fast, and you know, they get the heart pumping, but flying this camera has just been a pure joy. Take a look at this DVR clip. So this was in Rupert, Idaho last Friday, and I was out there for a STEM training. There's a school out there that has a drone camp through one of our STEM programs, and we go out to kind of give like flying tips, and then I just do flight demos. But this was at their school, and it's like just this row of trees in the middle of the day. So if you just look at the way this camera handles the shadows, it's almost like you fly up to a shadow and there's like a flashlight on the front of the quad, and it like illuminates your path through the shadows. That's how I feel flying with this Sparrow 2 Pro. You know, the icing on the cake is just that they managed to get a really large field of view on here. So the reason that I'm pissed is because I broke this on Friday. Like when I was doing a demo for those kids, they set up a track, and I smashed into one of the gates like a noob, and the voltage spike killed the camera. It killed my R6R receiver. It didn't seem like a bad crash, but apparently it was bad enough to like surge the 5-volt rail. Maybe I need to replace my caps, I don't know. But going back to the Swift to a CCD camera has just been, it's just been purely frustrating. You know, the CCD cameras, while they have a decent image, it's just not as fun. Like when I'm at a school right now near my house, and I was flying under these trees yesterday. And you know, it's like typical for a CCD camera, when you go under a canopy, it's like, you know, it's almost like you can have like temporary blindness because you're going from bright to shade. And with the Sparrow, it just there's a flashlight on the front of the quad, and as soon as you get into those shadows, it just is illuminated. And it's so much fun to fly. And looking at this DVR clip again, you know, these trees were all really close together, and I don't know what Runcam did with this lens, but I feel like it makes my flying more precise. You know, even last Thursday I was practicing with Zero, and by the time I got warmed up, I was just flying really fast and really controlled and really clean, in which it's not usually the case for me. I usually I might have a good lap or two, but then I'll I'll make a mistake somewhere and get sloppy. But I feel like something to do with this focal length, I can be more accurate. I don't know if it's a wider field of view and it pulls the center of the image closer. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I don't like about this camera. And the worst part is I'm gonna have to upgrade all my quads to this camera, and it's gonna get expensive. That's the sucky part. But you know, like I said, I've been using the Swift for years, and this is the first camera that has made me think that I can move away from CCD. I know the Foxeer Predator is super popular, and this uses the same processor or sensor, one of the two or both. So you know, the image quality is going to be comparable. I think Runcam figured out how to get rid of the blue tint that's inherent in the Predator cameras. And I've come close to ordering a Predator camera, but what puts me off is the field of view. You know, back in 2015, we were flying with 150 degree field of view with a 2.5 lens. And once that legendary 1.8 lens came out, you know, it was A-Nub and Jet that kind of introduced the world to that 1.8 lens. They had been flying with it for a while and were trying to keep it a secret. But once word got out that they were flying that lens and everybody switched to that lens, it's like now we're starting to see this trend of where people are going back to smaller field of view in their cameras and their goggles. And it's I don't really see a logical reason why you would do that. I think it's more like accepting consciously or subconsciously that this is what this product offers, so I'm gonna maybe settle for it. Because you know, I mean, the Predator, you know, the image is great, and I think maybe people kind of accepted that it had a narrow field of view and sacrificed the field of view they'd been flying with. Because you know, like I said, once we went to that 1.8 lens, I mean, it was a game changer. You could damn near see behind you, you know, flying straight. So yeah, I see this trend of people going back to smaller field of view, and I think it'll pass. You know, especially if people give this a chance with a 1.8 lens. I mean, it's you've got no excuses. You've got field of view, and you've got the great image, and you've got the great light handling. And again, this is a review sample from Runcam. I'm not sponsored by Runcam. So in the process of replacing all of my Swifts, I'm gonna have to pay for these, and I'm going to. And this is gonna be the first camera that I'm probably gonna shell out quite a bit of money for. The case is aluminum, so even with the camera exposed, you don't have to worry about breaking the case. You can buy replacement lenses at PureFlip. All I have to wait for now is for them to release this camera with the 1.8 lens already, because I don't want to buy the camera and then buy a bunch of 1.8 lenses. So yeah, when that comes out, I'll slowly or quickly start replacing all of my cameras with this camera. I mean, it's amazing. And then, you know, you've also got the one thing I haven't mentioned is CMOS cameras are lower latency. What else? Just to add, you know, this is my hyper low, and I've got the Eagle 2 Pro on here now. And I had initially put this camera, since it's a CMOS camera, I always start with these on my freestyle frame because I'm not sure like how well it's gonna work for racing. So I started with it on this camera, or on this frame, sorry. And when I realized how wide the field of view was, I immediately stuck this on my Alpha. And you know, I had flown it like that for a couple of days, and just like I said, I'm in love with this camera for racing, for anything. I'm gonna put this on my freestyle quads. I'm gonna put this on all of my race quads. I'm gonna get some for zero because I think this is like one of those things that's gonna make it easier to go fast. Just because, you know, you can process different lighting conditions easier, and like I said, I can't confirm, but I think there's something about the focal length that makes it easier. Can you even see this? I'm sitting in the shade. So yeah, guys, that's my review of the Runcam Sparrow 2 Pro with a 1.8 lens. Now I'm gonna put it away, and I'm gonna rip some freestyle packs in this park before dinner, and then I'll start editing this footage. Thanks for watching, guys.